Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 6, Episode 5. And this episode starts off with Whitney talking to her husband about how she wants to have like a little girls' day at a winery and all this stuff. And she's saying that she's like, it's a springtime or whatever, and it's flowers and all this. And I think it's so interesting because if you watch Real Housewives of Potomac, I know some of you don't, but I do. Ashley just had a second bloom ball around her divorce and this and that. And Whitney is now talking about starting afresh. And I have for many seasons now talked about the similarities between Ashley and Whitney. And it's actually kind of crazy because I don't even know if they're friends, but their behavior is very similar. And like, even to the point that both of them came to this season redheads. Like, I want to know if they talk beforehand. Like, I feel like no one has asked that. Like, I mean, I heard people make the correlation, but I don't know if people have asked directly, like, are y'all friends? Do y'all like plan stuff? Because y'all be on the same type of time a lot. Anyway, so she starts also like in her little confessional singing this song that she made about the girls in Salt Lake City. And I can't tell you what it was, but it's while the invites are going on. They're cute. Like she sent out a really nice bouquet of flowers to each of them to invite them to this winery thing. And yeah, so then we get to the event. Now, just a little side note, the entire episode happens at this event. Now, I kind of hate that, but also kind of love that there was so much drama at this event that they could have stayed there the whole time. However, the argument did get a little bit tiring. So let's get into it. Anyway, so they get to the event, and Mary's like the first one to show up, and she's like, "Oh, this place is bad juju," because the owner killed himself and his wife in front of their dog, the owner of the winery. So she's like, this place is bad juju. And he did that on Christmas Day. So that's already kind of weird. Um, Everyone's coming in. Bronwyn has this really cute floral like coat. Maybe it's a dress. I thought it was a coat, but I don't know. And to kind of stick the theme, that's a team, kind of stick to theme. Meredith tries to wear this jean floral outfit, and Mary was like, "Oh, she looks like a virus," and it's actually a mess because I saw that outfit and I'm like, it's not quite hitting the markers. It's not ugly. It wasn't ugly to me, but it wasn't hitting and it wasn't giving what it's supposed to have been giving, in my opinion. But, anyways, so yeah, Mare said that she hasn't seen Lisa since she last spoke to Angie. And so she's interested in confronting her here at this event. Whitney makes a toast. It was actually a pretty good toast, pretty solid. She tells the ladies that she brought an intuitive consultant, which is just a psychic. I don't know when they started giving psychics all these fancy names because, like, intuitive consultant is crazy work. But yeah, so she says she brought an intuitive consultant to do readings, and Mary was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that because I am of the Lord." And hey, I am a girly who kind of loves psychic readings. I have recently done, I think I've done two in my life. They're kind of fun. I think it's just like a little fun little thing. I don't know if I believe them, but sometimes you can be a little superstitious and be like, wait a minute, they said this, don't do it. So I kind of get where Mary is coming from. And then while they're sitting around, they bring some like salmon, and she asks the lady, like, "Oh, is it tartare or whatever?" And the lady's like, "Yeah." And she refuses to eat it. And Heather is like, "Oh, it's smoked." She's like, I don't eat no raw food." And I also, once again, agree with Mary. I don't eat nothing raw. Cook my food. Make sure my food is cooked all the way through. I don't even eat seafood, but I'm definitely not eating uncooked seafood. Uh, So then Angie tells the ladies that her house is for sale. She wants to move, get more land. And, Brittany was like, oh, like looking at the land. She's like, she's looking at the listing and she's like, oh, it's been on the market for 200 days. And she's kind of making all these little shady comments. And she was like, well, why didn't you call me? I'm a realtor. And Angie's like, girl, I have real friends who also are realtors. Like, you are like, because I don't want to knock on Brittany every time I get behind this mic. So I'm trying to like not say something bad, but like, girl, what were you thinking? You think she don't know no realtors? Like, you the only one? No. Um, then Brittany talks about how she listed her house too high and that doing a price adjustment like makes it look bad and all this. And, she's kind of like, girl, you don't know my house. You don't know where I live. I live in the best zip code in Salt Lake City, in Federal City or whatever, and then they all start arguing about the zip codes and where's the best place to live. And really, these are the arguments that I like, right? Because it really just shows the wealth and also the delusion a little bit, because like they all think they live in the best city. But of course, why wouldn't you think that? And then here comes Lisa, like, actually, the best is whoop, 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 wham. She goes and lists them out, and it's like, who knows? Because they all said something different. um, but then while they were arguing, Brittany's like, oh, Jared's calling me. So I guess, I don't know. I think she doesn't answer the call. And Whitney was like, why is he calling? Didn't I just tell you that you need to take a break from this man? Like, girl, what is tea? And Brittany is like, oh, I can't, or whatever. She's crying and saying that, everybody says that she should leave him alone and we'll do it. But honestly, this story is getting a little sickening. This Brittany Jared thing. Like, it doesn't even sound healthy at this point. Um, and then she says that Jared had come over to Whitney's house and was talking to her husband, and he tells her like, "Oh, I don't like the fact that it seems like Brittany only remembers me and wants to get back with me when she wants things paid for, or she wants to go on a vacation, or things like that." And Bronwyn was like, "Oh, that's rich because I was called a gold digger, and here you are only calling this man when you want to go on vacation." And Brittany's like, oh my God, that's not true. Blah, 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 blah. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then Whitney's like, okay, girl, get up. Like, you need to go meet with Terrence, the intuitive consultant. Like, we done with you over here, thankfully. So when she goes to get up, Mare now brings up her issues with Lisa. She's like, oh, were you trying to spread rumors about me? And Lisa's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That never happened. But from the looks of it, Satan knows what you're talking about. And by Satan, she was referring to Angie. And um, whatever. So then it cuts back to Brittany talking to the psychic, and the guy's like, oh, I see a disconnect in your family. Like, there's a problem. And she's like, yeah, with my younger daughter, we'll do it. And she's like, oh my God, how would he have known? Baby girl, he could have watched last season. And this isn't to say that Terrence isn't a real psychic or he doesn't really know stuff intuitively or whatever, but to say that there's no way he could have known when there was a whole segment on it last season and the producers caught tea and they played the clips. So it's like, girl, what are you talking about? I just feel like Brittany is just so extra all the time for no reason. But yeah, so Lisa and Angie start going back and forth, and honestly, their argument is just getting to be redundant because is y'all are going back and forth, but there's really like it's two people talking at each other and neither one of them listening unless something negative is being said. And so then they hear that negative bit and then that's what the only thing that they respond to. I don't care nothing else you said until you say that little negative bit, then it's like, oh, you just set a trigger that I want to respond to. And then that's how the little tit for tat is going. So Brittany comes back. She sends Bronwyn back to go do her reading. And it's funny because Heather, in her confessional, talks about how she's surprised that Meredith isn't going harder at Lisa with these allegations because she's like, Meredith is the person that doesn't let nothing go. You can't even like a tweet about her family without her holding it against you. But now Lisa gets this pass to say stuff and you're just kind of gonna buy it and believe her and disregard Angie. I do think it's weird. I feel like Meredith, you know your friend's MO. And here's the thing, my only concession is she might know her friend's MO. So she's like, okay, I know my friend and I know she would do this. And I'm going to address her off camera, give her that grace to kind of like apologize since they're really friends, not like show friends, you know? So that's the only reason I think why Meredith would let it go. But I'm glad Heather caught that and was like, wait a minute, what the heck? Like, girl, you was going ham over tweets, but now this is cool. Yeah. So then they cut back to Bronwyn and the psychic talking, and he talks about like he sees some brain issues and whatever. And Bronwyn talks about her mom's surgery, and he's kind of like, hey, like, you need to watch that. Like, whatever happened in the past happened, but there's going to be more that happens. And Bronwyn talks about how like no one's really focused on her mom's brain surgery because they've been so focused on her dad and his sickness and his like, you know, his I don't even know what the word is. I don't know why I blinked on that. But basically her dad is getting worse. And so people have been focusing on that rather than the mom and her brain surgery. And he's just basically saying like, be careful, be there for her and whatever. And then he also tells her to make peace with her mom. But based on what I seen last episode, now I can't tell nobody how to live their family relationships. However, there is no peace for the wicked. And her mother is wicked. Now, obviously, it is up to Bronwyn to rise above, but I don't know if I could rise above the level of wickedness that her mother showed to her and still shows to her about a child that is actually grown now. It's crazy. Um, then what's it called? Angie starts telling everybody what Lisa said and why they actually have this beef and the whole thing about sending the girl over to the shop and this and that. And Lisa's like, well, you don't pay for stuff either. So Angie takes it upon herself to pull out her black cards. She throwing them. Mary's like, don't throw these. You don't want to lose this. And Heather's over here like, I don't think I've ever seen a black card in real life. And honestly, this is even though the argument is tired, that's wealth, baby. She pulled that black card out like it was nothing. And throwing it, baby, I don't even want to throw my credit cards now. And they have a limit. Not to talk of a black card because don't let me mistakenly see that number. Not me specifically, but one of the ladies at the table. Like, you don't know. Brittany looked like she need a vacation or two, you know, paid for. Clearly that's what she do. Um, but yeah, so I was just like, girl, you really throwing them cards. It was like 3 or 4 of them. I was like, wow. But then that also makes me wonder, why do you need 3 or 4 black cards? But maybe it's different brand. I don't know. Whatever. They're all it's limitless, right? Or I don't know how a black card works. I'm clearly poor. So there's that. And then she tells Lisa, girl, keep talking. I'm gonna pull your ears further back than that facelift did. I'm like, Angie, don't do that. Y'all all, it's always funny when they talk about the work that they've got done because I'm like, all of you guys have clearly gotten work done. So to be talking about another's work, like, let's not. Unless Angie ain't got no work done, but I doubt that. So then she says she looked like she'd been in a wind tunnel. That was funny. Low key, I know a lot of people seem to think that Angie rehearses her reads, and I'm not saying she doesn't, but she does a pretty good job. If you're going to rehearse them, make sure they're good, right? That's the best I can ask of you, right? Because some people be rehearsing them and they be bad. So if you're going to rehearse your reads, make sure at least they land and that they're funny. Um, so then Bronwyn comes in. Heather goes back to the psychic. Bronwyn comes in. And she's like trying to stop everybody from arguing. And finally, Meredith screams, like, hey, look, our friend is going through it. Like, can we all relax so we can see how people are doing? And, she tells everybody the story and about her mom and this and that. And everyone gets up to hug her, even Brittany. It's like a whole thing. But Angie and Lisa can't stop going back and forth. And I'm like, okay, y'all. Like, and that's why I'm saying, like, those two people arguing, like, most of them stomp off, storm off. But it seems like one thing I do like about Angie, I'm not saying it's right, but Angie is not backing down for nothing. Like, the rest of them be like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm getting up. I'm going. Angie is like, y'all gonna hear me. We gonna get through this. I'm going to make sure y'all know how I feel, what I feel, everything. And although it's annoying in this context, because it's like we watching these people argue for 1 hour, that's crazy. But also, it's like I kind of commend you for sticking to your whatever it is that you feel is your right. Um, because I feel like a lot of people just argue for a little bit and then they walk off. She's like, no, y'all gonna hear me. She can't just go around saying whatever she wants and get away with it the way she do with everyone else. Um, so then Angie's like, well, you could just take my black cards and go buy stuff at Nordstrom. And she's like, girl, I do not shop at Nordstrom. And she goes, well, your boyfriend does for you. And Angie's like, and what about Soup Man? Soup Man? Who's Soup Man? What do you mean? Who's Soup Man? And everybody is now like, okay, who is she referring to? I'm not going to lie. That Soup Man call out was when is just like when Karen said she gonna call Sing Sing for Giselle, because you know that it means something, but it might have been a belt below what's allowable, right? Like it might have been just one blow too low, but I don't know. But no one seems to know who Superman is. And Lisa does not tell us who Superman is. And Angie acts like she don't know who Superman is. So it's very reminiscent of Sing Sing. Because I still till this day believe Sing Sing is real. And there is a reason why Giselle was calling Sing Sing, but I don't know what it is. And I'm saying that's going to be the same thing for Superman right now. Um, but then we cut back to the psychic. He's talking to Heather. He's telling Heather that she has problems in love. Heather starts crying, whatever, what have you. Um, because she is and she has been. Like, one thing I don't like is season one, we got Heather like, oh, I want to date. I wanted this. I wanted that. And then all of a sudden, that just kind of completely stopped. And I'm not quite sure why, you know, but it completely stopped. Then she started getting upset when people would reference her sex life on camera, and things just started getting weird around Heather and love and this and that. So I don't know what's going on, but it wasn't quite right. Um, then Whitney tries to pull Angie away, and I was like, okay, it seems like things are about to start calming down. And then Lisa gets up and walks over to them. I'm like, girl, we was almost at the end of this. Why? Because this whole time I've been like, okay, y'all going tit for tat, tit for tat, tit for tat. But when Whitney pulled Angie away and Lisa got up and came over to her, I was like, okay, Lisa, you have now become the aggressor in this argument, right? Like you are now the person keeping it going when it could have stopped. Um, then she talks about how she heard Angie went to Greece with someone else's card, you know, whatever. Then Lisa goes back for her reading. And Angie's still kind of hyped up, yelling this and that, but there isn't an actual argument, but it is a lot of back and forth with the ladies. Um, then we see Lisa talking to the psychic, and the psychic is saying like, I see a problem, like you're not on the same path or page as your husband. Well, he said a Scorpio or water sign, I don't know what he says, but either way he says something, a water sign. And then she's like, oh, my husband. And I think it's crazy because this gives us like the smallest peek into Lisa's life, because Lisa spends so much of the show trying to prove that she is perfect and everybody else on the show is flawed. Every other woman has a problem except for her. Like, Lisa is the only person that has a perfect marriage with perfect kids and a perfect life. And while the rest of you girlies is flawed, flaws do not live here. And that is how Lisa moves. So when this guy brought this up and she started to kind of give a little crack that there is not perfection between her and John, I was like, ooh, say more. Because low key, girl, what's tea? Like, what's been going on? Like, you have put up this facade, which I understand because you don't really want people in your business. But at the same time, we don't know nothing. That's why when people are like, oh, I'm such a Lisa Barlow stan, I'm like, you don't know nothing about that lady besides, you know, the fakeness that she shows, really. Then we go back to the girls, and Heather is saying that, like, Angie accepted who Lisa was when they were friends. Like, you knew this about your friend. You didn't have a problem with this behavior when she's your friend, but now it's turning on you, and it's the biggest problem. Like, this behavior, how she's acting. And Mary confirms it. And Mary's like, yeah, like, you didn't have a problem looking people up and being messy and doing all this when you was on her friend side, but on the other side, you're like, oh, I don't like it. Um, so then after Lisa, Angie goes back to talk to the guy. And the guy's like, oh, I see a new business venture. It's just weird shit. I don't think the guy really said anything. I mean, maybe for them, I mean, we only get to see a clips of it, but he's saying things that mean more to them, I guess. He talks about how traveling in June and he sees an injury to an animal, specifically, I guess Electra rides horses, so he sees like an injury to that. And so yeah, then she comes back. So Meredith goes back for her reading, and like she's doing her reading, and the guy is talking about how there's like he sees some mental health stuff going on with her, and then he starts talking about not trusting friends. But that's the exact moment that Angie gets up to go get the container that she had brought. In the beginning, we don't know what was in there, but she brought a container and she put it under the table, and the container was there waiting, and she went to go get it, and that was when the psychic was talking about Meredith not trusting friends. Now I don't know if it means Angie or if it actually means Lisa, but it does sound like it's giving a little foreshadowing energy. She brings the container back and she puts it on Lisa's side, and everybody's like, what is this, what is this package, this and that, woo woo woo. They open it up, and inside the package is a bunch of gifts that Lisa has given Angie that Angie just hasn't used or even opened. Like, there's a bottle of Vita tequila with Angie's name on it that's still vacuum sealed. And Bronwyn pointed out, like, it's not just that she has these gifts still, it's that they're unopened and unused. Like, why are you taking stuff from someone and you do not want the stuff that they're giving you? Because I can't even think of a single gift that my friends have given me that I have not opened or used, like, at all. Like, that is so crazy to me. Like, I may not even like it, but I will still find a way to utilize it or like use it with other people. Like if it's liquor or something, I'll be like, oh, okay, like, I'm having guests or I'm friends over. Let me use this liquor that somebody gave me. So it's so crazy to me that they were like completely unopened. And then there's a horse toy that she gave Electra that was in perfect condition, like very, very strange. Um, so then, yeah, Whitney goes back for her reading. Meredith comes back. Obviously, this arguing has not stopped. Um, Whitney is getting her reading, and they're talking about like fake friends and whatever, and they're talking about her business failings, and Whitney goes and talks about how she thought who she was wasn't enough for Justin, and she thought that the only way to kind of get on equal footing with him was to create this business and do this business venture, and then that business venture failed. So it's like, oh, y'all not equals, boo. Like, girl, you just a housewife. Take that and enjoy it. um but yeah, then he starts, like I said, you go to the girls, they're going back and forth, and Lisa's like, you know what, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. Lisa gets up and she's leaving. She has to obviously walk through where Whitney is having her reading at this time. And when she walks by, this is when the guy brings up Whitney should be getting rid of, like, there's a snake near her and she needs to get rid of this snake friend. And so I find that interesting that both Angie and Whitney had readings about getting people away from them that aren't good for them or bad friends or not trusting. and people were walking by. And I think that that is a little bit of foreshadowing for this season. But I mean, we're only on episode 5. There's so much to go. Um, then Angie is getting angry with the woman and she's saying, honestly, I just really refuse to be bullied. Like, I don't want to be friends with someone who I constantly am like in defense mode and this and that. She's getting angry. She's talking. She's shaking the table. And in that anger, the little horse gets knocked over. And in her reading, the guy had talked about an injury to an animal. And so Mary was like, oh, there's that injury to Electra's horse. But honestly, it's a little iconic that the psychic did say that, and not even like 2 minutes later, whether it was a fake horse or not, the horse was injured or broken. So then Mary is like, now, like, okay, Angie, Lisa's gone. Like, you are tripping. Which true, girl, why are you still going off? It's over. Like, it's dead, it's done. And she's like in a blind rage. And Mary's like, honestly, I don't like that. Like, I don't like that energy of her being in a blind rage. So she's trying to calm Angie down. Like, she's like, okay, calm down. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And Angie's like, nah, y'all all go back. Y'all all want to kiss the ring. Like, and Lisa could do whatever, say whatever, be however. And at the end of the day, everyone goes back to kiss the ring and like make up with Angie. I mean, make up with Lisa. And she's like, you do it, you do it, you do it. And she's going around and she says, you do it too. And Mary's like, wait, girl, what? What are you talking about? And she's like, just because it says in her confessional, like, just because you're mad at Lisa doesn't mean I should be mad at Lisa. Like, we don't have a problem. And that's low key kind of true because I feel like Mary, I'm not saying she doesn't have problems with people, but it seems like the only person that she's really ever had an issue with for real was Jen Shaw. And everyone else she's had little tits with, but nothing that was substantial enough for her to just like not talk to the person. So she'd been good. Like, it's not really a big deal. So I kind of like was on her with that. Like, you talking about me, but girl, you don't know me like that because I've never beefed with Lisa in or to a point that I'm coming back to kiss the ring. Like, I just let everyone stay on their own, you know? Um, and so Mary gets mad about that. She's like, no, I'm done. I'm not going to do this with you. I'm not going back and forth and I'm leaving. And she's like, you're not my friend, basically, to Angie. And she gets up and she walks off. Well, not gets up because she was already standing. And so, Angie's like, whatever. But remember, she's angry. So anything you saying to her is kind of not landing. She's not listening. Um, and so Heather is talking like, yeah, we know that everyone kind of just like lets Lisa get away with everything and woo woo. And Angie's like, I don't agree with that. Like, I don't like that. Like, it's kind of crazy, but like, I agree with Angie. But at this point, Lisa has gone. You beefed with Mary. Like, girl, let it go. Like, calm down. Um, but it's kind of like, I kind of get the energy, right? Like, when things happen, you feel like you got to get everything out, say everything, do everything. I get that. But at the same time, girl, we have been at this lunch a long time. Let it go. Like, this is one episode in one place. Let it go. Um, and Angie's just like, I'm not afraid of Lisa and blah, blah, blah. And Brittany hops up and she's like, I'm going to call Jared. I think that's how she feels she's going to diffuse the situation. And everybody's like, girl, what? Like, you don't see this fight happening? Like, what you talking about Jared for? But I guess Jared had been calling and texting her, and whatever. I think she probably texted him about hearing that he's calling her a gold digger. So he was probably blowing her up. And so basically, um, she calls. Bronwyn takes the phone and was like, oh, do you pay for Brittany's bills and this and that? And he goes, yes, I do. He really didn't even deny it. And Brittany was like, what? She acts all shocked. Like, girl, you know what bills he pays? She's like, I mean, yeah, he does pay this or that. And it's not like a lot. Girl, you know what you get from that man. Stop playing. And Bronwyn was like, all right, well, she's giving you up for Lent. She'll talk to you again sometime in May. And click, hangs up on the man. And everybody was like, oh my God, shocked. But I'm like, low key, you gotta nip foolishness in the bud. Like, this whole back and forth, it cannot go on forever. Like Brittany cannot be foolish every episode. Like at some point, you gotta just stop her in her tracks and be like, foolishness over. And if that requires you to hang up the phone on her talking to that man, then so be it. And then after that, the episode pretty much ends with Whitney finishing out the song that she started about the Salt Lake City girls. And yeah, that was the end of the episode. So I'm interested to hear what y'all think. I know it was a long episode with a lot of drama and a lot of fighting and a lot of back and forth, but not that I don't like episodes with drama and not that I don't like episodes that are contentious with them going back and forth, but I do feel the fact that it was one place kept it a little stagnant. Like, I just feel like that should have blown up 30 minutes prior than it did. Like, it should have blown up. Lisa should have left. Angie should have left. It should have just been like, all right, bet. Um, and then we should have been somewhere else, right? Debriefs. But I wonder how y'all felt about it. Did you guys like that layout? Did you like that the argument was going on for so long? Like, I do appreciate someone putting Lisa in her place for real, because I feel like these women don't. Like, Bronwyn hated her 2 episodes ago, but now she's sitting next to her kumbayaing. And so I get Angie's point. It's very frustrating. But I also feel like Angie might get there too, right? You blowing up, you blowing up, you blowing up, but you might be kumbayaing with her soon too. So I don't really know. I'm really curious to see how that plays out. And I'm also curious to know what you guys think and how you guys feel about the episode. So please like, comment, subscribe, share. Tell me your thoughts, how you're feeling about this season. Do you like it? Do you think they need to shake it up a little bit? What are you thinking? How are we liking it? And I will see you guys next time. Bye.